So guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the New York City Evolution animation. This is one of those videos that I don't know if anyone cares for the reaction or what, or if there's any other people who would even react to this sort of video. But for me, I like these sorts of styles of content. These are the sort of videos I would watch on my own without hesitating for like an hour straight, just watching different types of videos like this. And it's sort of, yeah, just sort of floated my boat when I sort of saw it pop up. I was like, yeah, this could be a fun little reaction. It could be one of the ones that people don't care for. Could go down quite well. But yeah, we're here with it. I love the geography videos that I've done in the past, or geography type. I guess it's a sort of geography mixed with history. Sort of a mixture of the two. But yeah, maybe there's more videos like this, but to do with different cities in the US or different cities around the world. But yeah, just let me know if you want more of these sort of reactions in future. Shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter, links in the description for those who want to follow me. Same for my Patreon, links were there for those who want to see some extra reactions that get blocked from YouTube. But let's get into this, man. Also, my camera's here because I sort of saw the first like 15 seconds or the first like... Basically, there's writing on the bottom. I mean, so I've had to move my camera so you can read it because there's no narrator or anything. Greater New York City covers approximately 300 square miles. It is, and it's such an interesting sort of shape and sort of like what it's around. Like half of the city's one side, half of the city's the other side, or 2/3 of the city's one side, 1/3 of the city's the other side. It is really interesting because it's such a just a fat ass river, such a big ass river. I don't know why I said fat ass river. But there's actually a lot of water based around New York, obviously. Like, where is the Statue of Liberty? Is this the Statue of Liberty here? Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Is it like around here? The little island here? Or here? I think it's here, right? I actually don't know. I'd love to go there one day now, honestly. But there we go. So it's Manhattan. I actually don't know where it'd be. I think it's off Manhattan, right? So I think it is here. I don't actually know though. Going back to where it started, huh? Pre-colonial waterfront. Dutch traders first settled the region. Can you read it? Yeah, you can. So at 1664. Let's turn that audio up a little bit. Extent of settlement. So this is the initial settlement, huh? Flipping now. I guess there's a lot of water around, isn't there? So they've sort of figured there's a lot of routes to get to different spots. It is kind of the perfect place to start, to be fair. Especially when you think about hundreds of years ago. Like, this is the perfect location to have to start a civilization. I guess it just slowly gets bigger, right? Yeah. Do you know if any of these buildings are around nowadays? The first initial buildings that started New York. That would be cool to visit. See, that's quite interesting. It sort of just goes down here. I would have thought they'd sort of gone along here before they start sort of spreading out off like different bits of land, but probably how it became so big, so quick. So population 52,000. 64,000. Bro, New York grew so damn quick, man. Commissioner's plan, predicting future growth, city leaders propose the Manhattan grid plan. They sort of predicted it, huh? The street grid is the city's first great civic enterprise and vision of brazen ambition. $247,000. And what I find nuts, is like how New York is now probably the most well-known city. I say New York and London. Got to big London up, as a Brit, got to do it. But I say like New York, London, and probably like Paris are probably the most well-known cities. No, maybe not necessarily the richest, even though New York is the richest. But like I mean, just more like just the most well-known, most visited cities because of just a lot of different reasons. But it's crazy how New York, not even 200 years ago, was the same sort of size as the city that I'm from now in terms of population. And now you sort of see the growth, it's so damn quick. But I mean, again, it's just the location, isn't it? The water around, just everything seems perfect. But at the same time, the climate's quite cold. So back in those days, it must have been really hard to deal with. It's interesting how there's a few little just settlements here on their own. $495,000. Already closing on $1 million. Jeez. I love these videos so much. They're so soothing as well. Fairgrounds. Oh! They frequent the park. Central Park was us. What? I didn't know it was going to be this soon. I thought once there was like buildings around it. At this point, it says there's not really anything around it. I mean, there's a few settlements here and there. But like next to it, there's probably not many. There's probably a few. Imagine being the first person to like build a house here, and in like 200 years' time, you're like your family are like one of the richest families in New York or whatever, because you've got like 4 different properties there that now sell for millions. To be honest, that is crazy, man. Central Park is beautiful as well, and I'd love to go there one day, man. It's so incredible how it's like a park in the middle of the busiest sort of area in New York. The first elevated railroad opens on 9th Avenue. Oh, that's a big jump. I guess the park sort of boosted everyone to just start building around it, right? Nearly 5 mil. Five boroughs incorporated into the city, doubling the population. It's so interesting how here there's not really anything yet. Population to square mile. So there's now 3.4 mil. Yeah, the growth is nuts. In like 100 years, it's like pretty much the whole population, like maybe 3 million and like 300 of the population has moved here in the space of 100 years. And the next 100 years is even crazier, isn't it? So population to square mile. So red is 150k per square mile. God, it was a crowded ass city, wasn't it? God damn. I wonder how many people live in Manhattan in terms of like houses. Is there many houses, or is it all pretty much like apartments and stuff? There's probably like a few houses here and there, but I'm assuming 90% of the people who live in this kind of area live in apartments, right? First subway line. Building subway lines back in these days as well. It's hard now. Back in 1903 must have been a chore, man. 5.5 million. just after World War II World War One finished, but history's not good. Manufacturing areas were effective in New York's work. See, I'm guessing back in these days, this was sort of a lot of factories and stuff, wasn't it? Until like America just completely boomed, and it became like skyscrapers and like businesses and stuff like that. 7.4 mil. I'd love to see one of these videos on my city. I don't know if there's any out there, but it'd be so interesting to see how it sort of grew. Like, I just love these sort of videos, man. So these are like roads and stuff, I guess. Or bridges and stuff like that, actually. Or highways, I think, actually, is the word. I think it is the word. Wait, am I stupid? Is there not any people who live down here, on this side here? There's still not really anything there. So yeah, Manhattan is the place, I guess. Again, especially... Well, this is probably because of the apartments, isn't it? Like around Central Park. It's why it's red, because there's so many people who can live in such a sort of small, condensed area. But god damn, it's cramped around here, isn't it? Here it's a lot less busy, but obviously it's still probably... Like, it's crazy to think, like... You'll be like, yeah, I live in New York, but then to get like to like central New York and stuff, it must be hard. Like, I guess in these sort of areas here, do you have your own sort of I don't know how to explain it, like your town centres here, or like your area sort of centre, like where you do all your shopping, like for like the big shops and stuff, like the high street shopping. Because how I sort of picture it, I don't really know what I'm saying. How I sort of picture it, like in my city, again, it's quite a small city, but there's pretty much just sort of one area where everyone goes to. There's a lot of damn shops where most of the people go to. There's a few other sort of smaller areas in my city, but they're not really like... It's not really the same. It's just sort of small like shops here and there. Like in the centre is where all like the big retail shops and all that kind of stuff sell things. So I wonder like if because New York is so big, it's just in every different area it's got its own sort of place where everyone will shop for like their clothes, or I don't know how that sounds stupid because there's so many places you can shop, but like the centre, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Does what I'm saying make any sense? I don't know if it does. Probably doesn't. Manhattan's density has decreased by 30% since its peak in 1910. All the highways. % of New Yorkers work in manufacturing. Imagine coming from like all the way down here, yeah, trying to get up here. Like you're like, yeah, I live in New York, and your friend's like, oh, I live in New York too. Let's go meet. And you got to travel all the way up here. How many miles is that? God. Oh man, that would be an absolute like. That's probably like in terms of like England. That's probably like going from one city to like maybe not another city, but possibly in some places it is like going from one city to another. And here in New York, it's just New York. It's just going from one place to another place in New York. So people do live here. We will now rewind through time. Doesn't really show. I guess there's not many people who live there. All the way back to the start. Imagine being the first settlers there, man. Before even Central Park was there. God damn. in such a short space of time. It baffles me, man. It is actually crazy, bro. It's cool to see though, man. To think that nearly 400 years ago, there was just nothing there. Man! Cities like poetry, it compresses all life, all races, all breeds into small islands and adds music and the accompaniment. I don't know what the fuck that is. The dyslexia's kicking in. Accompaniment. Yeah, that one. Of internal engines. I've just butchered the whole flipping quote, for God's sake. But this is a fun video, man. I do love these sort of reactions, honestly. There's not really more that any others that I've sort of done reactions like this recently, like any other videos out there, but I'm always down to do more, man. I really am. Imagine deciding I want to build a house by the park and then later have that property be worth hundreds of millions. That's what I'm saying, man. The land is the finest for cultivation that I have ever in my life set foot upon. 300 years later, yeah, let's cover this in concrete. This is not greater New York City. This is just New York City. The greater area is much larger. Okay, there we go then. So that's what sort of answers my question. Like, I was asking, do people live here? People obviously do live in that area. This area here. Oh, let's just go here. Like here and wider. Because you saw on the satellite that there was more. But I guess this is like sort of, again, the not great in New York. Just sort of the, I guess, the better known areas. The internet is a weird place. Just last night I was wondering to myself how long it took New York to grow to its current state, and this morning I got this video in the recommended section. Imagine if this was made in city skylines. 2 out of 10, too many grids. But like, that's the crazy thing again. New York was built so quickly. Imagine like what cities are starting now, and in like 100 years will probably be like the next superpower, like the next mega city. That's the word I'm looking for. A mega city that's just like booming and everyone's moving and all that kind of stuff. Like I know in Brazil, they made like not a fake city. They made a new city where everyone sort of would move to sort of make Brazil look a lot more modern, and they changed the capital and everything. But it's like a ghost city. Not many people are living there. But if it's done correctly, I can only guess that there's going to be many new cities just popping up out of nowhere that are going to be booming in years to come, like New York did back in, and how it is now, but how it sort of just blew up out of nowhere kind of thing. But yeah, fun video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.